Hey everybody, Jen here of GenX Website Design and Strategy. It's no secret that many Squarespace users have been struggling to get their blog posts indexed by Google. All you have to do is join the Squarespace community Facebook group or peruse the Squarespace forum to see this. It's been a problem. This is why I am so excited to share with you something that a fellow Squarespace website designer, Jessica Miller, suggested to me that literally worked overnight. In addition to Jessica's suggestion, Henry Purchase, founder of SEO Space, also offered me some great advice that piggybacks on Jessica's suggestion. A URL redirect forwards traffic from inactive pages to active pages on your website. This can be for permanent changes, 301 redirects, or temporary changes, 302 redirects. To use a 301 redirect, the original URL can no longer exist, and the new one must exist. You will be deleting the old URL slugs of affected blog posts and replacing them with new ones, so you will be using a 301 redirect. Jessica Miller, a fellow Squarespace website designer, shared this solution with me. So how to rename your blog posts. If you're like me, you've been using your blog post title to double as your URL slug. It's what I've always done and what I've always recommended. Turns out I was wrong. Hey, it happens. Now, I'm no Google expert, but Henry Purchase, founder of SEO Space, is. Using the plugin he developed, I learned that the URL slug should be between 4 to 6 words, and the URLs for my posts that weren't getting indexed were much longer than that. In an email from Henry, who has been helping me resolve this, he says precisely, if you check my blogs, all the slugs are short and sharp, usually only containing my main keyword. For example, Squarespace-SEO-checklist. You heard him. Keep them short and use keywords. If you're not sure what your keywords are, try not to overthink this and get stuck in analysis paralysis. Ask yourself, what is the main idea of my blog post? And who am I trying to attract with this blog post? If you haven't ventured into Google Search Console, this is the time to do it. Don't be afraid. If you're not yet connected, it's very easy to do. In the home menu of your Squarespace website, select Settings, scroll down to Connected Accounts, then select Connect Account and select Google Search Console. A window is going to pop up and you can select the Google account you want associated with your website. It really is that easy. Then log into Google Search Console and select the Pages panel. In the upper left corner of the graph, select the Not Indexed box. Scroll down and find where it says Discovered, Currently Not Indexed, and click on it. This is where you will find all the blog posts that aren't being indexed. Don't worry about tags and categories. Find the affected blog posts and go to the next step, which is to rename and redirect your blog URL slugs. But first, you're going to want to make a list of the URL slugs of the affected pages so you don't lose track. Because once you delete or change the old URL, you might not remember what you called it, and you'll need to have a record of this. I suggest using a spreadsheet like this to keep track. It's not rocket science. You can do this. We're talking about 2 columns here. In the first column, make a list of the current URL slugs, like this. And in the second column, make a list of what you will rename them to, like this. It's not complicated. And don't forget to add /blog as part of the URL slug. This is part of the URL slug, and if you don't include it, this won't work. I think I'm going to add another column to my spreadsheet just to be sure I know which ones I've done and which ones I haven't. So I added a column called Done, and I'm going to insert a checkbox and then just drag this down. Now you're going to head over to your website and change the URL slugs of the affected pages. Depending on how many you have, you may want to do this in small batches, since your current URL is floating around out there in cyberspace and someone just might click on it. Open up the settings for the affected blog post, scroll down, select the slug, and delete it. Replace the old slug with the new one. I'm just going to copy this right out of my spreadsheet. You can see that the portion of the URL slug that says blog is automatically generated by Squarespace, so you only have to copy this portion of the slug and paste it, and then select Save. After you've changed the URL slug, you will add the URL mapping in Developer Tools. So you're going to go back to the Home panel and select Settings, scroll down to Developer Tools, and select URL mappings. You can see I've already done a couple. So we're going to add the one I just did. The first thing you want to do is enter the old URL slug. I'm going to come over to my spreadsheet and I'm going to copy it and then paste it. Add a space. Then I'm going to add a hyphen and a right-angled bracket, so it looks sort of like an arrow. Then another space. And then this is where I'm going to enter the new URL slug, which I'll copy right out of my spreadsheet. And I'm going to paste it right here. And the last thing you want to do, add another space, and then add the numbers 301 and select Save. Give it a couple minutes and then test it. Type in the new URL slug, select Enter, and behold, it worked. Awesome. Now we are going to go back into Google Search Console and we want to request indexing of the page with the new URL. So what we're going to do is put the entire new URL in this box right here, where it says inspect any URL in your website. I'm going to come over to the blog post, select copy out of the browser and paste it and hit return. It's going to tell you that the URL is not on Google because you literally just created it. You will see a box right here that says test live URL. Click it. This might take a minute or two. If you get all green check boxes like I just did, you can now manually request indexing by selecting request indexing. Awesome. And basically they're just telling you that submitting a page multiple times is not going to help. Just be patient. Now I'm coming back over to my spreadsheet and I'm going to put a check mark in the box to say that I've done this. That's it, you guys. There are many variables when it comes to SEO, and not everything is a quick fix, but I can tell you that after dotting all my I's and crossing all my T's and pulling out my hair and maybe even crying a little, this is how I got my blog post indexed by Google, with a lot of thanks to Jessica Miller and Henry Purchase. Try this and let me know how it goes. If you could use a few extra blogging tips, head on over to my website and download the Squarespace Blogging Quick Start Guide. It's a series of checklists that just helps ensure that you got your basics covered. Thanks for watching this. I hope you found this helpful, and if you did, please give it a like. Please share this with someone who is struggling to get their Squarespace blog posts indexed by Google. Subscribe to my channel, but most of all, have fun with your Squarespace website.